Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I'm talking to Aisha Carrington. I love her Instagram bio. It says, Aisha, the spiritual G, love, happiness and mindset life coach, a personal stylist that also creates loving retreats for you. This is a really juicy one, especially if you're feeling, and I don't say this lightly, in a bit of a dark place or are perhaps looking for some solutions or ways that you can just make things feel a little bit lighter and brighter and get back into that sense of flow and actually moving towards what you want rather than just being stuck in the sense that things are just not really happening for you right now. I'm sure you'll find it really uplifting that things can actually change pretty quickly and your current situation is certainly not a reflection of all the amazing things that you could create. So do come and join the conversation over on Instagram at Nicky Raby. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode, and that goes for all the episodes. You can always email me hello@nickyraby.com. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my free weekly online magazine, please do so. What are you waiting for? Go over to nickyraby.com/magazine and you'll get all the juicy stuff, all the up and coming events, discounts, anything that I want to share, I will share in there first. So check it out. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the episode. Here it is. Aisha, welcome to the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I was just saying to you before we got on the call, I'd just been thinking about who my next people and what I wanted to talk about, and then you popped up into my DMs on Instagram and was like, there she is. How brilliant.
I slid into the DMs along with the universe. It helped me slide in there.
I know. Yeah. I think basically the universe is at Instagram HQ sort of working its magic on the algorithm.
That's such a good way to see it.
Totally. So, how would you describe what you do now and sort of tell me a bit more about what you do and sort of how you would describe where you're up to?
So people always ask me these questions, and I think someone messaged me the other day and they were like, do you know what, you're a jack of all trades. And I always kind of wanted to be, let me think who it is. Oh my gosh, Only Fools and Horses. I so wanted to be like that. So totally. I find that I feel myself a bit like being the Only Fools and Horses of being like a spiritual light worker and a coach. So I really just guide people in any way that my intuition allows me to. So I do it through coaching, I do it through my retreats, I do it through personal styling. Anything that I feel can help somebody be the best version of them, I kind of help them with. So that's it really. So I'd say I call myself a lifestylist because I help people throughout every aspect of their life.
Oh, I love that, and it's so needed. And also, as well, it's always holistic. It's never just one thing. It's kind of it's always all the moving parts together. And how did your own sort of self-development begin? What was your beginning point? How did that start for you?
I found it kind of started after I had my daughter. So that's going back. I had her when I was 21. So going back a lot of years now. So I kind of found that's when I started really going for, I think I used to go for Paul McKenna and The Secret, and I really started developing it, but not really knowing what I was doing. But it was definitely a pull. I went from reading like love novels and fictions to self-help books, and that was my new norm.
Totally, and hoping that the parenting manual would pop up along the way, like, oh no, it didn't come with instructions. What happens next?
Then I found a life coach in Newcastle. I was about 22, and I was going through a split with my daughter's dad. And I found this life coach in Newcastle, and I was speaking to her, and she it was so cute back then. She didn't send emails. I would speak to her on the phone, and then she would send me a letter of everything we spoke about on the phone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Back then, I was 22. I was like, I want to be a life coach, but I just didn't know. I felt like a life coach needed life experience.
Right.
So I kept putting it off.
Well, I think this is the thing, is that it's such a, and I was saying it on a podcast the other day, that when I qualified, or when, I sort of started this, I think people just thought I'd lost my mind, and that I was using it as some kind of, they were just like, but what is it? Like, is it therapy? Is it like, what are you trying to gain from it? And it is quite confusing if you don't know, but once you do know, you're like, that's the kind of magic for it. And do you know what you were sort of craving in searching in those books? Did you have an idea of, I guess, what was missing or what answers you needed?
Do you know what? I feel like a lot of me always needs accountability. And which I think I do a lot with my clients and my coaching clients as well. I feel like sometimes I guide people back to using their intuition. I was very unaware of myself back then, and I think I have been for years. And I had to have somebody, if you ask someone a question, and you might find it yourself as well, most of the people I work with, they know what they want, they know what they need to do, but they just need someone to say, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
permission.
That's what I was always searching for. I was always searching for someone to be like, I think I used to do Paul McKenna, and we used to like do self-love in the mirror. And it was like, I was probably searching for self-love and just self-acceptance, and again, just using my intuition, but I didn't know what it was back then.
No, and that's the kind of toolkit that we're missing at school. Like, how often have I used trigonometry or Pythagoras theorem or the periodic table? Like, I just haven't done any of that science stuff. But, how to manage your money, or how to ask for a raise, or negotiate a different situation. Like, I felt like there needed to be a lot more role play or something at school, so you could do it in that safe environment, rather than being out in the big wide world going, I don't know how to navigate this.
You're saying that, and when it's like I say, I really believe in universal signs and alignment. And for about 2016, I had this idea that I wanted to go into schools, and I've been, you're just fighting things. I've been fighting it since then. So when you said that, I was like, it's another sign.
That's what it is.
I'm desperate to go into schools and give them that knowledge, because I didn't get it. I can see it in my daughter herself. We're not getting that idea that we're learning self-help either now or 5 years ago. We're not learning it at school, and I feel if we did, we would be different people.
You're so right. And also as well, school will tell you these sort of things that by the time you get to this age, or as long as you go to this university, or you get this particular grade, then you'll be all right. Whereas actually I've heard of people who have done all the things by the book and gone to the top uni and got 3 A's at A levels or whatever, but they're still as like effed up as the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. There is no cure for it in general, but knowing the tools that we know now, I know for a fact if I'd known them back then, I'd be a different person.
Definitely. And how have you married that in terms of being a parent, but also creating and carving out this career for yourself? How have you created those opportunities?
So, what the difference? Do you know what? I'm half only fools and horses, and I'm half a big kid, which I think he was as well, actually. So I love anything. I always said, I had a money coach this year, and he kept asking me to put me in different directions. So I said, I know it sounds really silly, but unless it's fun, I don't want to do it.
Ooh.
So I started carving out a future, which is why I love personal styling, because I just felt like I was playing dressing up. So I was a personal stylist for 10 years, and I've been life coaching for, I don't know, maybe a year now, just under a year. And, yeah, it was literally deciding that I just wanted to have fun and I just wanted work to be fun. And if it wasn't fun, I couldn't really do it.
That is so lovely.
I just that fun for myself.
Definitely. And also, I think that's really great if you're listening as well, to really check in with what lights you up and what your own personal values are. Because I think as well, there's so much noise on the internet of like, just do these 3 things and then you will have this, this and this. Or like I said before we came on the call, people keep saying you should do a Facebook group. And ultimately, I just don't feel like that's the right path for me at this stage. And sort of giving yourself permission to really tap into those areas of yourself is so key.
So key. Like, I had a conversation with him. I was like, I know that, I have money blocks. I know that I need to be more, I know where I want to go. I don't need help to know where I want to go. I know my destination, but I'm letting you know that if it's not fun, I don't want to get there. I even said to him, I only want to make money when it's fun. It sounds really silly, bills, everything else is not fun, but he gave me this card, and it was I don't know if you've heard of it, it's a Monzo card. They also do another bank, I think it's called Sterling, and it let you put money into certain parts, it let you do savings accounts, and it alerted you every day. I thought, oh my god, making money is so fun with this card. And literally, if it's not fun, I can't do it. So even my coaching programs, I started making them up, and my friend was like, so basically you're just meeting people and acting like they're for your friends and helping them. And I was like, yeah. So with my coaching plans, I take people shopping, we go and stay in a hotel overnight, and I give them, tell them meditations and stuff. We go out to dinner. And my friend was like, why do you do all that? And I was like, because it's fun.
Because it's fun. Well, I think that's the thing, is that we're at such an exciting point, I think, where we're all kind of just shaking everything up, and how we do business or what we want to share and things. And I'm just really loving that actually I don't want to do things in a clinical session, or I don't want to wear a pinstripe suit to work because that's what everybody's done for the last 50 years. It's a great opportunity actually to carve out a new way of doing things.
A bit like your podcast, because even now I would have been so nervous prior to that, which is why I asked you if I have any questions, but I'm getting so excited because it's flowing out of the ordinary and it is just fun. And you're right, that we have so many, I don't mean to be pessimists, that are like, Instagram's negative, or, everybody, you'll get people that are really upset that bloggers and influencers can make money doing what they love. And people really detest it because we're so ingrained that work has to be hard.
Yes.
That you have to be grafter. If you don't come home and you're not knackered and tired and you can't say, oh my God, I'm so busy, then you're not working. The people are really envious, I would say, we're not so jealous, but jealous and envious of influencers these days because they are living their best life and making money doing it, and people are not happy with that. But what they need to see is that this is a new world that, you work really hard, and if that's not what you want anymore, don't be bitter and jealous and negative. Just change, because this is a world that's as bad as it is, and as hard as it is, and as much as it's changed, there are some beautiful things happening. And the movement that you can do what you want, when you want, at any point in your life is it's priceless.
Oh, I love that. I feel sometimes as well that, because I guess when I trained as an actor, people would say oh, it was all competition, who's going to be the best girl or who's going to be the person that's picked, there was only one spot available. And now what I've seen when I see people having huge success is that I use it as a reflection of, oh, well, if it's possible for them, it's possible for me, and they're carving out the way and sort of trying to be excited by it. And I think sometimes, it's irritating sometimes when people are going, oh my goodness, my John Lewis delivery didn't arrive on time. And it's like, okay, that's maybe something to say to a family member, not to put out there and use your platform for. But I think it's such an exciting time to see the possibility of what is out there and what we could create.
It's such a beautiful time. But as bad as it is for people say it's bad for your mindset, and I feel like, fashion could be bad for your mindset because sizes these days they're not the sizes you expect, and our bodies aren't what they were. So the majority of people may have been a size 8 to 10 at one point, and now they're size 14 to 16. That is the average. And that could be bad for people's mindset. I get clients that are like, I'm not a large. How can it be a large? And it's like, hey, you're not a large, because why are you putting yourself in a price tag? But all we hear these days is Instagram's bad for your mindset. And it's really like, no, your mindset is bad at the moment and you need to fix that. It's not Instagram. It's not people who are putting it in your face, because we always had the next to Joneses. It's just we see the Joneses on our phone now.
Yeah. And as a stylist, and as a stylist, you're like, you don't know what I'm going to do with this top. I'm going to tuck it in. I need extra material here. This is why we need to do this, this and this. And I think sometimes we close ourselves off to things just because they don't match our old beliefs.
They don't match our old beliefs. Everything has changed. It's like we sometimes can be so consumed by what we should be, or what we desperately thought we are or were, that we're not acceptable to change.
Oh, so good. Tell me about your retreats. How did that start, and why did the idea sort of come into your head and you knew you kind of had to do it?
Again, it's one of those eggs I've been sitting on for a long time, and it's like, I was heavily depressed in 2016, 2017, and I was really, really lost. And so I started finding, my mum's been a yogi forever, like she's always done yoga, and I was so like, no. And then when I was really depressed, my friend, Jenny Scott, Mother's Meeting, she sent me a list of yoga poses, and I called that 6:30. She called me at 6:30 one day, I was crying. But she said, yoga poses. She was like, you like yoga, you're going to do this. And I started going, and I'd go for 2 hours at a time, and it was mind-blowingly amazing. Yeah, so yoga, it wasn't that I was being really flexible, it was that it was changing my mindset. I'd spend 2 hours there on the mat, and it wasn't like I could lift my leg in a certain position. My mind was just in a place that was pure, peaceful and beautiful. And I found meditation, and I was like, you just feel like people that are woohoo or like hippies. In your head, that's your typecast, and people think that that's what it is. And so people aren't trying these things. I know meditation has become so big at the moment, but people still think that even meditation, you have to not be thinking. So I started feeling like, this is really helping me. I didn't take any medication when I was depressed. I literally just used yoga and meditation, and I was like, why do people not know about this? So I started, I'd be on the mat and I'd be meditating, and everything was telling me, you need to start doing retreats. So I was just like, this is really weird. Like, what is this? I love traveling. And I thought, you know what, I really need to do retreats. So I organised a day retreat. It was a really dark place one day, and I organised it. And I think partly it was for myself, and partly it was because I wanted to help people that didn't know about it. But I wanted to help them in my way. So I wanted to basically find all my tribe that were my twins, that were like me, that liked music, that liked fashion, that liked dancing. And I wanted to go back to the garage in like the jungle days and just have that. when you're in a club and you're feeling so happy. And I don't drink alcohol, so it's like I actually know that vibe without alcohol. And I was like, I want to capture that vibe, add meditation and yoga, and make a retreat. So that's kind of where it came about. I was like, and I want it to be fun. I want people to feel like they're in a club, but looking really good with people around them that they wouldn't expect to be there, like bloggers and Instagrammers and people that you think have it all sorted. And I want to get them all in one place and be like, let's just be real. It's never always been this way, and just give them that high vibe that I felt. I just wanted to make it. That's how it came about.
That's amazing. And also that you wanted to actually do that in real life, so you can use all your senses to actually be in the room with people. Because I think, as wonderful as the internet is, I absolutely love it, but I am craving those real life connections to actually experience that. And with something like yoga, for example, I've done those online programs, but I'm never as focused as I am when I go to a class or I actually dedicate some time to it, and solely that, because otherwise I'm like, oh, I can hear the washing machine, or I need to do this, or the doorbell goes, or something like that. And we have to give ourselves that space, I think, just to be present.
It is. It was giving myself that space. Like I said, those 2 hours. If someone said to me before, you're going to go and do 2 hours in a Buddhist temple, I'd have been like, that's not for me. Are you crazy? But it was like the best 2 hours. And sometimes on a Sunday, it was nearly 3 hours. And I was like, who am I and how do you do this? So I was like, I need to give women a space. I would love to do it as men as well. And I am thinking of doing men's ones in the future. I would love to give women the space where they just spend a whole day thinking about themselves like nobody else.
And what did they gain from it? What were the surprises that came out of that experience?
You know, when you wish for something to be amazing and, you know, you pictured it in your head, you've got the vision. It was that one time when I was like, wow, my vision's actually, it's gone past anything I could think it could be. People literally left. I wanted to make them feel, my thing was I wanted, Get Lit was like to light you up from within. So it's called the Get Lit Retreat. I just wanted it to light you up from within and give you a glow that would take you forward for days to come, days and weeks to come. And to give you the tools to know that you can do this on your own. That was what I wanted to put out there. And when people would cry and they would laugh, and I would get messages saying, weeks later saying, I've still got that buzz. And it was a pinch me moment, like, it actually worked. I can't even express it now. It's like the most amazing thing ever to know that you can come for one day and just be literally lit up from within. It's like, it's insane. It really is amazing.
And what do you feel like people are craving? What's sort of missing? Because I think sometimes we get the different clues of feeling stressed or burnt out or just kind of out of sync. But what sort of were the common themes? What were people looking for?
People actually just want to be their own best friend, but they don't know it yet. So people want to find themselves. They want to love themselves, but no one really knows how to love themselves, you know, how to love other people and how to search outside of yourself. But nobody really has yet, not nobody, but the majority of people that I come into contact with, don't yet know how to make themselves feel whole. And I feel that's what people are searching for.
And I think it's knowing, actually going back to those things, especially if you've been through a bit of a transition or you're tired or something's happening, or certainly I've known it when I've gone to the next level in my business or my brand. It's just kind of going back to the guarantees, the things that I know every single time will work. Like something like dancing for me is one of those. It gets me in my body, it moves me out of my head. Or going to yoga, like I feel like I could run the country after a yoga session because I'm so kind of powered up and ready to go. But also as well, I think giving yourself permission to let go of anything that is just a bit outdated and sort of really step into the new sort of level, the new version of yourself.
It's so true. It's like we literally don't give ourselves the knowledge or the accountability to be like, it's okay to shed that skin of yesterday, of 10 minutes ago. It's okay to not be that person anymore. And it doesn't mean that you're not you. I just think we are literally evolving. And if we just shed our skin, if we actually do shed our skin that quickly, seconds and minutes, like you go on holiday, you come back, you'll see physically you're shedding your skin from your tan. And that happens on a daily basis. It happens emotionally. It happens in every aspect of us. But I don't think we yet realise or give ourselves credit for the fact that you can change that easily and that quickly. And it's okay. It's more evolving. It's knowing that you're evolving, not that you're like a different person. It's allowing yourself to evolve on a daily basis.
Yeah, and just making sure that you're checking in with actually who that person is that you want to be. I've got this course that's been going on at the moment about visibility, and so many of my clients talk about this sort of set of rules that they live by that perhaps were presented to them by somebody else, whether it's where they fell in the family, like you're the eldest so you should do this, or you're the youngest so it's okay for you to be like that, or what they were good at school. And sometimes as well, when I meet clients, they're like, oh, I just don't want to do that, even though that somehow it's being plonked on my identity, but it's just not me, really.
Yeah, and that's okay. But again, this is why I think people do need coaches, and it's not okay to always go to your friends, because you need to know that that's okay. You can evolve, or you can drop that expectation or that thing that you thought was you and it's not.
Oh, yeah. And sort of, I guess, so how have you done that? How have you practically sort of moved forward and given yourself permission as you've gone through your own journey of this?
I think when you come, I will have to say that it's awful being depressed and it's awful having mental illness, but it also, a bit like, I think it must be like if you have a really terminal illness, or you feel like, or you had that chance of being really ill. I think it gives you that, you hear sort of cancer patients that just change their life around. I think when you get that space where you could have not been nearly here,
yeah,
you transition into a different life. I think that's it. I feel like with mental illnesses, people are still unaware of the fact that, people would maybe feel like, it's not cancer though, so you weren't going to die, but people don't always realise that when you are depressed and you are nearly in that suicidal zone, you physically could die. So I feel like when you transition through that space, you have to give yourself credit to be a different person and to know yourself differently, because you have to, unlike when you have an illness where it takes control of you, you have to take control of your mind and how it keeps you safe and keeps you alive. So I feel like that's the transition that makes you so much more aware.
And did you find a way of, I guess, documenting that in terms of you knew that you were on track, or you knew that it was getting easier? Were there any tools that helped you to go, no, I am actually doing this? Because I think it's quite hard to quantify sometimes, and I always do it with my clients, of really getting specific on what that feeling better is, or how did that look like for you?
I find journaling helps so much because you're on paper. If you're using the right questions, you can find out what's triggering you, what's changing you, and how you're growing and what you need to grow. So I find journaling helps so much. But again, I think that takes back to your intuition, because you two know, but getting it on paper and seeing it just clarifies that you know. And I also feel like it's just a journey of realising, okay, that was a horrific day, but I've got to the other end of it. Yeah. I can do it again. And I feel like it's tricking your mind to realise and remind your mind that was really bad, but I did it. Where before, you can't see that you've done it or you'll get out of it. I think once you've got out of it, again, if you get back into it again, it feels really hard. But you know that there will be a brighter day. And I feel like it sounds so cliche, but they're the only things that can help move you forward.
Oh, I love that. I've done this weird thing with running recently, because running always used to trigger being in cross country, absolutely freezing as a kid, being forced to do it. But actually, when I do get in the rhythm of it, it is something that really helps me have a clearer sense of thought and stuff. But also there's a lot of resistance around it. And bizarrely, when I have a rubbish day, or I feel like I've got a big day that I need to tackle, I add running into the mix, which seems really sort of weird, but there's something about that if I can master that, then I can do anything else that I want to as well. What I'm not good at is just sort of sitting back and going, oh my goodness, this is all going to be awful. I've actually got to action it and try and find a flow with it.
That's amazing. How do you think you always were like that, or do you think it's something that you just can't even help, that you have to do that because it helps you?
Well, it's only been a very recent thing, kind of getting back into it over the last sort of 3 months or so, because I just I didn't have depression, but I did have a lot of anxiety, and I just didn't feel like I was feeling like I was switching off. And I felt like and one of my big sort of values, I guess, is freedom and flexibility and being creative. And when I became a mum and was busy all the time and had a child that didn't really sleep that much, I always felt like I had that sense of being available to all things all the time. And of course, if you're in that headspace, it's going to be really tricky to keep showing up like that, and something has to give. And so it was a conscious decision of going, right, I've got to do something that is going to be really focused and doing one thing at once. And it did really help. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to be lapping Paula Radcliffe at the London Marathon or anything like that. And if people saw me, they'd be like, wow, you're slow. But it's just been really meditative for me. And meditation works much better for me when I attach it to movement. And again, sometimes there's that sense of, well, I'm doing it wrong because I'm not sitting cross-legged and I'm not at a Buddhist centre. But you've got to find what works for you.
It's so true. Even with meditation, I'm listening to a guided meditation. It will often say to me, I should sit up, I should sit with my legs crossed. And I feel like that doesn't work for me, and I'm going to lie down. And
yes.
I'm going to lie down, and if I fall asleep and you're telling me I shouldn't, that's not okay, because I want to be so relaxed. I fall asleep, and that is what I want to do with meditation. But I think you're right. It's just taking what works for you, or what you think works for you, or what works for everybody else, and making it come together. So then it's just personal to you.
Definitely. Like those coaching seminars, I don't know if you've ever been to any of them, but those moments where you all have to go and sit in this huge conference centre. There's about 5,000 people there. It smells of coffee and fags, and like nobody's opened the window for about 48 years, and you're all sitting on these like hardback chairs trying to better yourself and create your dream life. I'm like, I'm too old and too particular to like not sit on a comfy chair when I'm doing my visions.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. It doesn't. They don't mold together. And I think it was a bit like that when I found my when I was looking for the retreat space. It was kind of like I put it out there. I wanted to do a city retreat. I put it out, and then I was just like, but it's not. I don't want to do it on a busy main road, but I want to do it in London. I want people to be able to be near central London enough to get there, but I don't want to make it be in London where I can hear noise around you. So it was like I wanted to find the perfect place, and I found that place, but you're right, you had to think out of the box and feel like, where do you want to be, and where does that vision sit? Because again, it's not on a hard chair, is it, in a smoky room?
No, and that sense of, because there's so much noise on the internet, that you have to be willing to do the work of stepping back, unfollowing, turning off the notifications or whatever, and actually getting back into the things that you want to do, because otherwise you're just kind of, becoming somebody else's version. I would love to know, are there any books or kind of tools or resources that you have in your kit that you always come back to?
The Secret, even though I don't always come back to it, I do find it's a Bible that holds my heart, because even though I don't go along with everything it says, I just think it gives, if you don't know anything, it does give you that hope that things are better. And let me think what other ones I love. Anything to do with Louise Hay, I absolutely adore. Yeah. I think whether it's her YouTube, whether it's her books, whether it's her emails, if you need something that's free, I find Louise Hay is absolutely amazing. And I've really, really been into Kyle Gray at the moment. I feel like he's just transformational. Do you know what it is? It's hearing a voice that isn't what you would expect it to be. So, do you know of Kyle Gray?
I know of him, but I haven't. Does he do a lot of angel work?
He does, but so for me, it was a bit like finding someone, which I feel like when you find books or when you do find people, you have to find someone that you're aligned with. And for me, I found like he was truly amazing, because he's younger than you expect somebody who's an angel works with angels or is even in the self-help world to be giving you advice from. And to get it from somebody who, as I said, was a bit wise-eyed with retreats that you're in alignment with, really helps your mindset, because you don't feel like you're being different. Like, for example, as I said, when I wanted to be a life coach, it was like, well, life coaches were older and wiser.
They wear pashminas.
They wear pashminas, they're different. So you can't always see that can work for you, because you're not in alignment with it. So I always think if you can find somebody who, inspires you, is within your category, you can say, well, if they can do it, I can do it. That really, really works. And things that they're my kind of go-tos really. Oh, my Gabrielle Bernstein. I did her spiritual course, and that's kind of like another step of how I got onto the path of being a light worker and being a spiritual gangster. And I did a course with her, and I found her. I was like, she is me. Like, she's like, I'm in alignment with her. If I knew her, we would so be best friends.
I know. She's such a new voice of, she's such a new voice for our generation, or, well, for any generation. But I think that's really key as well for people who are looking to enter into new businesses or offer new things, is that you don't just have to emulate what people expect from you in your industry as well, that And I know that's a real safety thing. Sometimes people go, well, I'll just do this, or like what that person does, because I know that it works. But if you can be brave and go, okay, let me bring all the different bits of my personality and create this, that's when you get the real kind of magic. And, you know, I know we've touched on it a little bit, but certainly when the kind of Instagram mum blogger sort of movement sort of happened, nobody was really talking about how hard motherhood was, or it came from a sort of a real place. So I think that you have to do that for your business, whatever it might be.
I agree. I totally agree. So that's kind of what really helped me start my business. If I'm honest, like to transition from just being a personal stylist to allowing myself to run retreats and be a life coach. So yeah, so Gabrielle Bernstein, Kyle Gray, and Rebecca Campbell, I found she was amazing.
Oh, she was on my course as well. So yeah, I feel like we had a lot of magic in the room at that particular time. So
oh my gosh, I find her absolutely amazing. So those people really helped me. I wouldn't say they just help you if you're being spiritual. I think they help you, even if you don't think you're spiritual, I think they help you get in touch with yourself. That allows you to do things that you are probably holding yourself back from doing.
Yeah, and one thing that I've realised is I need more and more tools, because the work that I'm doing is not just right, crack out 8 hours a day and you'll be done and that will be sorted and tick it off the list. That I do need much more headspace than I think I do, or when I'm making a plan, it's a different part of my brain that from, you know, the kind of the action point, or yeah, it's you have to get to know yourself in quite a deep and sometimes uncomfortable way.
I agree.
So I've got one final question. Where would you like to be in 5 years' time? Have you planned that far ahead? Do you think in that way? What kind of comes up for you?
Yeah. So in the next 5 years, I feel like I would really like to be having retreats abroad quite regularly. I'd say 4 to 5 times a year, being able to give people that space to really just be themselves in quite intimate space. So maybe between at 10 people, my ambition isn't to have lots of people all the time. It's to really be able to help people be able to move themselves forward. So that's where I really want to be.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And just a bit of sun on people's faces and good food and big chats. It's so good for the soul. So, what a lovely thing to be able to facilitate. If people want to come and find out more, where should they go?
At the moment, they can come to my Instagram. That's like the place where I'm at. That's where you can practically get in touch with me most of the time, 24/7, and you can send me a message. By the next day, you'll hear back from me. So I find, Instagram is where it's at, and it's Aisha Carrington _
Wonderful. Brilliant. Well, I have loved chatting so much. Thank you so much for sharing so much. And I think this is the thing with the podcast is I feel like I want to talk about lots of different facets of business and life as well. And hear from people in this lovely candid way. So thank you so much for sharing.
Well, thank you for creating a space that's different. That actually, as I said, I've been so excited, and even the conversation, I know I talk quite fast, but that's because I've been so excited. So I'm really thanking you for creating a space that's different.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.